I want to show you how easy it is to show specific pages or posts by category or tag or custom taxonomy in all sorts of different layouts and configurations using Mai Post Grid block in Mai Theme. I got a blank page already created. I'm going to edit that page. You can add a new block with plus here or the plus button here. I like to do the shortcut / search for grid, and there it is. The theme default is to show 12 of the most recent posts and just show the image and the title. But let's walk through all of the settings in Mai Post Grid. The main show setting are the elements within each entry that you want to display. You just click to hide or show. Title, excerpt, more link, header, footer, meta. And then the tabs here, you can drag to reorder. Really powerful. You can see the options already, how quickly you can change the layout and the look of your entries and your grid of posts. Title size uses our font size scale as well. Image orientation. This is easier to show if we change the columns. We have some left and right settings here. Give an example of left full. That fills the whole container. The image width is how much of the entry to do. 1/4, 1/3, 1/2. Really cool for different looks. You can alternate the images, so it's like a little checkerboard. Let's change image position to background. We'll center the text vertically and horizontally. Now we have a cool look here. If your theme has enabled different image orientations, like we have square enabled here, or portrait, you can also change that here. Really powerful, really cool look. Header meta, you can adjust this with the shortcodes built into Genesis and Mai Theme. Limit the amount of content based on the excerpt or the content itself. This is a good example that shows you if you do little content, kind of throws off the look, you might want to align your text to the middle when your images are aligned left or right. Stack image. Most of the time you leave that as the default, but in some instances, if you were using grid to show recent posts in the sidebar or something, you may want to keep the image to the left. The boxed look, pretty simple. You just uncheck it and it makes it more of a seamless look. If boxed is checked, you have access to the border radius. This by default uses the theme default. Any CSS unit value is acceptable here. Let's jump over to the layout tab here. These are pretty self-explanatory as well, but we'll run through them. Columns. One of the first things people want to customize, how many columns to show on desktop. By default, they're already responsive. So when you get down to tablets or mobile, whatever you have set here will scale itself down to 2 to 1. But you can also have individual control. So custom responsive columns gives you settings for the different breakpoints. Large tablets, you can have 3, small tablets 2, down to 1, and have full control that way. Sometimes that's really handy. Align columns. Aligns the columns, just like that. It's a really cool look when you have an odd number of entries. Change the columns to 3. That's often a look we go for just to break it up a little bit, so it's not so rigid looking. Align columns vertical if you had different size content, or oftentimes when you show an image size that's not cropped, the image sizes are different and you want them vertically centered. Not often used, but really handy when it is. Column and row gap. It's great to have our scaled control over the gaps between your entries. Remove bottom spacing is the margin on the bottom of the whole grid instance. We're going to jump to the Entries tab. Here we can select the post type. If you want to show pages or a custom post type, you could do that here. Default query, you're getting entries by the default, which is recent posts in WordPress. If you get entries by choice, you get this new field to choose entries. We don't have any selected, so it empties itself out. But if we search herbs, ice cream, and dinner rolls, you can see we have them in the order we put them in. You can drag to reorder. Let's clear these out. Show you a really popular one. Show posts in a specific category. So we're going to add a condition, set the taxonomy to categories. Lunch, the operator is in. It's either in or not in. We're going to leave it as in. And now we're showing posts in the category of lunch. Really powerful feature here is you can add another condition to the query. So let's show posts that are categorized as lunch, but also vegetarian. And you can also say, not in. Now we're showing posts that are categorized as lunch, but not tagged as a vegetarian. Extremely powerful. You can add as many conditions as you want, tweak them however. Our My Display Taxonomy add-on plugin is great for this because it is a private taxonomy in the backend that is strictly for configuration. There's another video on that. The last option is to get entries by parent. This makes the most sense with pages. So let's switch the post type here to pages. The default is the most recently created pages. You can see some of these don't have featured images and are just demo related. I already have some services set up, as you can see here, with some child pages to that. So let's set the parent to services. And now this is showing child pages of the services page. If we were putting this grid instance on the actual services page, which is something we do all the time, you could just choose show children of current entry. I don't have any child pages of the Mai Post Grid page, so those aren't going to show. Let's go back to recent posts. Okay, now we're back with recent posts. Let's go down the rest of the settings here. Number of entries is pretty self-explanatory. You can set that to the number you want. Use 0 to show all. Be careful with that. If you don't know how many you have, it could make your page load slow. Offset skips the number of entries you have set here. So if I choose 1 here, it's going to skip the first one that's returned in the query. So I hit 1. You can see it skipped that one and it added a new one to the bottom based on the query that we have. That only really comes into play if you have multiple instances or you're showing different grids in columns or something. That's not often used. Order by. You can order by title. So alphabetically, descending, ascending. You can order by slug, by date, which is the default, by when the post was modified, how recent it was modified. You can do random if your host supports that. Comment count is a great way to show popular posts by how many comments they have. Menu order is the page attributes setting in the back end of each post, or you can use simple page ordering plugin or similar to drag and reorder your posts in the dashboard, and then setting this to menu order will respect that order. Often works great for WooCommerce products or something like that. Here you can see exclude entries. This is to exclude specific entries by name. So we can remove the blueberry entry, and then it fills in whatever was next based on the query parameters. Really powerful if you have one that you don't want in there. These exclude settings are typically used when you have multiple grid instances on a page. So a home page or start here page or a landing page, this may come into play. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a grid of posts showing recipes on your home page. And then down below, you have another grid just showing recent posts. And you don't want recipes to show up in recent posts because they're already showing above. So what you could do is use exclude displayed. And what that says is if this post is already displayed on the screen higher up before we get to this grid instance, then exclude it. Very simple. So if there's a recipe in here and that recipe is already displayed above, it will hide itself. Exclude current. An example is when you have a grid in your after entry template part and you're showing recent posts on single posts in the after entry. If you visit this blueberry cheesecake post and then you scroll to the bottom and you have recent posts, you don't want the blueberry cheesecake recipe to show on the blueberry cheesecake post. You're already there. Clicking that will just get you to the same post. So exclude current means exclude the current post that you're viewing from this grid. I hope this video helped show you the power of Mai Post Grid block, the ability you have to customize, to show the entries, the pages that you want. Really powerful stuff. It's that easy.